Hello and welcome back to the Health and Harmony Girls podcast. Today we are sticking with the spirituality theme. I don't know if you guys have been following at all, but we're doing a 30-day spirituality journey. And it actually happened to be today that
I love how we always say today and we hope you're listening to this at the right time.
Well, yeah. So today happens to be list your 5 core values. So we thought we'd talk a little bit more about core values.
Yes, what core values are, how you can decide what your core values are, and how to instill them into your life.
Yes. So basically, core values are personal values to you, obviously, because they're your own core values that help you to understand your own personal motivations, and they basically shape how you live and feel and react to things and what motivates you.
Yes.
A whole bunch of things. So yeah, we're just going to chat a little bit. We're going to keep it very short and sweet today, we hope.
Yes. I think it's important to note, guys, for the beginning even of the podcast, is just to know that there's no pressure to have the most amazing core values that you think somebody else should have in their life. Like Rox is saying, this is completely beneficial to you and how you live your life. So there's no point in you picking 5 core values for your life that you feel that your mom would be proud of if you chose. You guys are different people. This is going to help you in your life. And yeah, it's just going to help the way that you behave and the way that you act with people around you in your life. So pick things that are relevant to you and things that really just resonate with you as a person, I think.
100%. And I think this is a good time to touch on fear-based versus conscious-based values, because I think a lot of times we tend to set even goals, our motivations, our intentions, whatever it may be, based on fear from past experiences, because fear is just there to protect you at the end of the day. But at the same time, living in fear doesn't do you any good. So when you set your core values, don't set them based on past experiences that have instilled some kind of fear in you that you feel like you need to be a certain way or act a certain way or do things a certain way. You need to almost let go of those past. It sounds a lot easier than said than done,
but you have past experiences and past relationships and past everything in your life that will play a part in the way you think and feel about things. And you might think that because of something happening previously in your life or a situation that happened or whatever the scenario is, that fear is now instilled in your life and you feel like, you know what, I have to use this as my core value because I'm scared of something happening again.
I think a good example, and this goes to money, a lot of us have been instilled with the fact that money is evil, money is bad, money doesn't grow on trees. So it might seem like selfish, contradictory to you to set a goal for, let's say, security, goal and a value. One of your values might be freedom and security, which means that you'd like to earn a shit ton of money. But because of past let's call them limiting beliefs, or whatever you want to call them, you feel like it's not a good thing to set those types of values. But at the end of the day, money just empowers you and enables you to do more. Whether you use it for good or bad is your decision at the end of the day. And a lot of people that make a lot of money use it for good.
I think that's a really good example to use because it's also, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about not picking values that are, not going to resonate with you. So for example, like Rox is saying about money, what are other people going to think if I have money or success or whatever it is as one of my core values? People are going to judge me. They think I only care about money, or they think I only care about doing well financially in the world. It's not about what other people feel. It's about what you feel. And if making money and being successful and being stable in your life is something that is important to you, then you can list that as one of your core values. And I promise you now, it really does not matter what anybody else says about it. It really doesn't. It's supposed to be something that resonates with you and makes you behave in the way that you want to behave in the world, basically. So yeah, I love that example about money.
Yes. Okay, so we found it was actually one of those 69,000 page, I think it might be a thesis of a study.
69,000 pages.
But they basically explain what values are. And then there are 10 basic human values that we thought was cool to touch on, because they kind of are main categories for all the subcategories of values that you can set as your core values. So there are 5 ways that they've defined what values are. And I think it's so beautiful because values it's quite a like broad concept to define in one definition.
Yes.
So the first one is that values are beliefs. So obviously this is why everyone has their own personal core values, because everyone has different beliefs. So I'm trying to think of an example, but like if you are a very religious person, one of your core values might be sticking to your religion, whether
religious
it's
practice,
the 10 commandments or going to church every Sunday. That's your own personal value. But if someone's more spiritual, it's still a similar value, but they just
may value meditation every day over going
different ways of what's the word, living them out.
100%.
Sorry, my vocab seems very restricted again today.
It's all good. I'm like, I know exactly what you're saying, and I'm sure everyone else does that is listening to you.
Okay, then the second one is that values are a motivational construct, which basically means that they're like desirable goals that people have, which is also a good way of describing them. I mean, one of our common values that me and B have is honesty. So it's a goal that we have to always speak the truth, be honest, never like talk badly about people or tell little white lies to get out of situations. For us, like honesty is the only policy. The only policy.
Literally.
And then also tying back to values being desirable goals, you need to remember that there are abstract goals. They're not an end point or a final destination. It's ways that you decide to live your life. So that's another good way to describe values.
Completely.
And then values guide the selection or evaluation of actions, policies, people, and events. That is, values serve as standards or criteria. So, I mean, that's just basically saying that it's like a way to set standards and criteria of what you allow, who you allow into your life.
It's exactly like we just said about honesty. Like honesty is a really big thing for both of us in our motivation of how we live our lives, but it also limits us allowing people that aren't honest into our lives. Like that's like one of our top things always that Rox and I have always said, we don't allow people that aren't honest into our lives, or you may allow people into your lives and then realize that they're not honest, but I will cut those people out before they even realize. Like honesty is really, really a big thing for us. So I think as much as your values are important to you and the way you behave and you act in your life, like we're saying now, it is also will limit the actions on people that you allow into your space or into your life as well.
100%. And I think this ties back to boundaries.
Yes.
And you guys can go back and listen to our episode on boundaries. But once you start to define and put into play the values that you decide are your top 5 or top 10 or whatever, you'll start to have to set boundaries in your life, because there will be people or circumstances or whatever it may be in your life that just don't fit into what you believe is good and right. So get ready to set some boundaries after you set your core values.
And I think also, I mean, touching on that, it's super important to note, I mean, you may have never sat down and written your core values or even thought about them before. And I mean, if I had to take the person I was 5 years ago, I've always been the same person when it comes to the core. But I mean, your core values can change throughout your life. Like, don't feel like who you were however many years ago or months ago or days ago is who you have to be today. You may have different values than you've ever had in your life before, and that's okay too. But your values honestly need to mean the absolute world to you personally and move forward from there. Like Rox is talking about boundaries, like keep that in your life, like put those boundaries up. And you know, I think it goes, like Rox is saying, it goes back to boundaries when we speak about friendship. And you may have people that have been like a part of your life forever, and they'll be like, this is not the person that you used to be. Like, it's such a judgy little circle to be in, but don't allow that into your life.
The only constant in life is change, right?
100%.
All right, and then the last one is values are ordered by importance relative to one another. I mean, my top 5, you can write a list of 50 values if you want, but your top 5 are generally the ones that are the most important to you and that determine how you live your life and who you allow into your life. So those are cute little ways to define what values are. And then we found a list of 10 basic human values. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, they like big, broad categories. So each one we'll discuss now. And there's one that we're actually going to leave out because it doesn't resonate with
us
living a spiritual life.
Yes.
I mean, we'll touch on it, but just so you guys can see, because it's obviously a study, and it is something that I think a lot of people incorporate into lives just because people are very ego driven. But you'll see as we go through these 10 basic values, there's so many values that fall underneath them, and this might just help you in setting your own core values. So the first one is self-direction, which is just in the pop.
That's
Oh,
Alvin
gosh.
Olney
You'd say
dictionary,
there was
except
some-
that word means nothing, so we can't use it. In the pop.
So that's independent thought and action, choosing, creating, exploring. So basically just whatever directs you in your life, whether it's creativity or exploration or independent thought and action, that would be a big one for me, because I feel like we all need to be independent in order to be ourselves. Because I think under honesty for me is authenticity, and you can't be authentic unless you are honest and independent in your own ways. Number 2.
I'm just nodding at you. I'm like, you are so right. Okay, number 2, we have stimulation. So things that stimulate you. Is it excitement, novelty, challenges in life? Like everyone's stimulated by different things. So, I mean, you may be stimulated as an adrenaline junkie by like jumping out of airplanes, whereas someone else might be stimulated by reading novels every single day. So find something that stimulates you and something that excites you. And I mean, that is part of what your core values will be.
100%. I know one of mine is freedom, and in that it obviously ties back to money, but it also ties down to travel. And that's one thing that really stimulates me, is traveling and exploring new places.
One of mine is passion. And I feel like that's a big thing for stimulation for me. Like passion is a big core value of mine, because I just take it into every aspect of my life. Like I find it so important to have passion in my job, passion in my relationships, passion in like every aspect of my life, whether it be love or work or, like I said, whatever it is. But passion is like what stimulates me in some way, shape or form.
I love that, because passion feels purpose as well.
Exactly.
Okay, number 3, hedonism. This is just basically pleasure and sensuous gratification for oneself. So whatever gets you off in a non-sexual way, or it might be. There's no lines drawn here. But just find the things that give you pleasure and gratification in life. Like for me, it's journaling, meditating, doing yoga, working out, eating healthy. Like I sound like a flippin' wellness freak, but for me, that's what gives me pleasure and
that's
gratification.
What our lives are about. 100%. You might get people that are really like, they super, like, I mean, a lot of people in my family are stockbrokers, and I know that they get a lot of pleasure out of like trading and doing what they do for a living. Like the same pleasure that maybe Rox and I get out of going to a yoga class, or like Rox is saying, eating a healthy meal, or like right now I'm drinking my green juice and boy, do I feel great for doing it. So ridiculous, but I do. So yeah, that's a good one too.
Okay.
Number 4, achievement. Okay, so personal success through demonstrating competence according to social standards. So, I mean, it doesn't always have to be according to social standards. That's what Rox and I are always touching on. It's like not always resonating with us, but achievement is achievement to you. So, I mean, your achievement might be that you get to meditate for 10 minutes as opposed to when you used to meditate for 15. I mean, that would be going backwards. That would be going backwards. You might have gone from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and that's an achievement for you. But your achievements don't have to be social achievements, as in like, oh my gosh, you've got a degree and you've graduated cum laude, and then someone else hasn't, and they feel like they're not as achieved.
Yeah, I think achievement's also such a personal thing, because it's something that makes you feel like you've done better. I mean, for me, I have a habit tracker in my journal that I like cross off everything every day, and just being able to cross off all my habits every day makes me feel such a sense of achievement, because I'm like, yes, I've done it. I've stuck to my goals. I've done everything that I wanted to do today. And mine aren't like hectic things, guys, like getting enough sleep, meditating, journaling, eating healthy, drinking enough water. It's just like basic things. But when I tick off all those things at the end of the day, that for me gives me a sense of achievement. So it doesn't have to be huge, ginormous things. It can just be like basic daily things.
I think that's important to touch on, because a lot of people feel like you are only, or you have only really achieved when you've achieved something massive. And it's so important to take note of the small things that you do achieve every single day. Like Rox is saying, I mean, if it's something as silly as drinking, even if you don't drink water and you want to drink 1 liter of water in a day, that is an achievement for you. Like, it's really, it doesn't have to be the most miraculous thing you've ever achieved in your entire life. Like, find little achievements every single day. Like we talk about gratitude, be grateful for the small things that you can achieve every single day, and you will grow more and more and more.
100%. Okay, number 5, we're just going to mention it because it's power. This is obviously the one that we didn't resonate with. If you are ego driven, obviously like social status and prestige and having control or dominance over people and resources is going to get you off. But I mean, if you're on a spiritual journey, I just don't think power is a basic value that you should be putting in your life.
I don't think anyone necessarily, I mean, I might be jumping the gun here, but I always link the need for power, like this example is showing, for power over people and resources and dominance. I always relate it to people that are quite narcissistic. I don't know why, but that's like just my judgment. And I know judge no one, cool, that's fine. But I'm like, I always feel like if you have that, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have control over like your situations in life, even though we do say at some point you do need to let go of control, but there is some sort of a situation where it's like okay for you, but I feel like you should never want to have control over other people and all resources. I feel like, especially with resources, I mean, people is one thing, but if you try to have control over resources, like you often will be upset or like feel failure. I mean, if you lose money, if you lose your house, if you lose your job, it's like your world is over. So power is a really shitty thing to,
I think power is basically what's wrong with the world at the moment. So let's move on.
Let's not have power as one of your 10 basic values, please. Let's disregard that. And if you do have power as one of your 10 basic values, let's reconsider.
Yeah,
please.
Pop us a DM. We'll have a chat.
We can chat to you about it. Okay, number 6, we have security. So I think that's a big thing for everyone, but safety, harmony, stability in society, your relationships, and also just your security with yourself. So, I mean, like we're saying now, security can be anything around you. It can be relationship with yourself, relationship with your friends, relationship with your family. Could even just be the security of you being stable in your job, or stable in your relationship, or stable in your everyday life. Like, we just all need some sort of security to feel safe.
Definitely. I know my hubby's one of my hubby's top values is security, and also ties back to freedom. But I think security, going back to money again, is just like being secure in the fact that, you know, you can pay the bills at the end of the month, put food on the table, hopefully put a bit aside to savings if you're in that situation at the moment. I know COVID's been a bitch. But yeah, security is, I think everyone's going to have some form of security in their top 5 values.
I think you have to.
Daredevil.
I think you really have to have some sort of security in your, I mean, it's your relationship with yourself, your relationship with people around you. Like, you should have some sort of security, unless you just feel safe all the time. Like, then praise you. You're amazing.
Let us know how you do it.
Please let me know, because I feel like I need security and safety in all aspects of my life. But anyway, that's a story for another day.
Okay, number 7 is conformity. Obviously not in the way of like the way we've been taught what conformity is. But it's your restraint of actions, inclinations, and impulses that are likely to upset or harm others and violate social expectations or norms. I sound so fancy reading these things. This is not my vocab, guys. Disclaimer. So basically just conforming to things in life that are for the benefit of other people, not in the way that you are losing out at the same time. But yeah, just be kind, be nice. Don't hurt people, don't hurt animals, don't hurt nature, don't be a dick.
I think definitely conformity in this sense is a much broader word, like Rox was saying, than what we've been taught.
There's a better word we could have
found. There's probably a better word that they could have used, but I mean, conformity in the sense of like not murdering another human being, like that is a great thing to conform to. It's things that are going to upset other people or violate other people's norms, like rape, another thing. Like, let's conform to not raping other people. Like, that should not even be the thing that you think about in your values, but that's what this conformity is relating to. Okay, then number 8, we have tradition. So, I mean, a lot of people have different traditions in their life, but your tradition can be your commitments, accepting of the customs and ideas and traditional culture or religion that provide to the soul. So, I mean, this is also going back to, like we were saying earlier, about if you are religious or if you're non-religious. I mean, religious people might have a tradition of going to church every Sunday, or maybe saying the rosary every night, or praying at 12 o'clock on a Friday, or whatever every religion is. Their traditions are obviously something that they really hold close to them, and that would resonate with their core values. Where someone like us who is more spiritual, to not put in the work on your spiritual journey is not like doing your tradition, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think on another side, also respect such a big thing when it comes to tradition, because we all at the end of the day have different beliefs and traditions. It's just a matter of respecting everyone else's belief. And I believe respect comes in two forms. Respect, you either respect other people's beliefs and traditions, but then you also need to respect how you portray, I don't think portray is even the right word, but the way you like spread your tradition onto other people. Don't force your beliefs. Don't be a dick if someone doesn't believe the same thing as you. Just respect that everyone's different. Everyone has different beliefs. Just be lacquer.
That's one of my top 5 core values: respect. And like Rox is saying, it goes into every aspect of your life. I mean, like people call them pushers, like don't push your religion onto other people, don't push your spiritual journey onto other people. If someone's happy believing in what they believe in, that's fine. I mean, the whole point about our spirituality journey and just the spiritual journey in general is accepting that everyone is one, and we all are whole, and people do have different ideas and people have different beliefs, and that's fine. But you keep your ideas. Yes, you can spread your word, but don't push it onto other people.
Read the room.
Yeah. Read the room. See how other people are feeling. Yeah, I love that.
All right. And then number 9 is benevolence, which is basically preserving and enhancing the welfare of those with whom one is in frequent personal contact. I think this pretty much like goes back to respect as well. But also like service, just making sure that people around you are happy. If you are an empathetic person, this could be a good one for you, because you can pick up on people's emotions, if they're sad, if they're happy, and just like ask them if they're doing okay, if you can see that they're not looking themselves and they're looking a little bit upset or down.
I was just going to say also, like, I mean, it's people that you are always in frequent contact with, right? So take into consideration that you may think you are always just in a group with your friends. You don't take into consideration that there are other people that you see on a frequent basis, maybe every single day. Think about the people that are the cleaners at your office or your workspace, wherever you are. If you take the time to just speak to someone and see how they're feeling and strike up a conversation, you never know where that conversation is going to lead. Like, that's what we always speak about, acts of service. You don't have to always be giving things to people. You may just give your time or a conversation
or advice.
Yeah, or a piece of advice. I think more often than not, you don't realize that you always feel like you need advice from other people, but you don't actually realize how much advice you have to give to others from what you've been through that they haven't been through before. So yeah, I think that's a good
one. All right. So now we want to just speak you through the steps you can take in order to set your core values. If this is an exercise that you want to do, I would recommend it though. I think once you discover your core values, it just helps you to live your life better, to know which boundaries you need to set, to know which actions you should be taking and shouldn't be taking, that just live in harmony with the core values that you set.
Sorry, Roxy's playing with the wire. That's what that noise is.
Oh, am I making a noise? Sorry, guys.
I'm like, it's either the dogs or us fiddling around with our feet or our fingers or something. But
okay, do you have that list of
Yes, I've got it. Guys, you can literally go onto Pinterest or Google or whatever the situation is. There are massive lists of core values, but pretty much most of the lists are going to say the same things.
Yeah.
And they go in alphabetical order, which is quite cool.
Also, if you signed up to our spirituality journey challenge, we did send a mailer out that had a link to a file with over 400 core values. So I mean, guys, and a lot of them are the same thing, like authenticity and being real could be the same thing. I mean, I've seen so many. Health and wellness, I mean, there's so many different things, but obviously whatever stands out to you and resonates with you, those are probably like your top core values. Okay. So the first step is to pick 10 values from the list. I mean, we can just shout out some that stick out to us.
I just spotted one now that I've never thought about before, and I was like, I wish I actually had that at one of mine. But I love spontaneity. I think that's such a cool thing to have as one of your values. But there's lots of different things, guys. I mean, we've spoken about respect, like Rox was saying, health. It's so funny because health and harmony is one above each other here. That's so cute. Friendship might be something important to you.
Positivity is one of mine.
Yes. Uniqueness, that's what we were talking about when you were saying there's a lot of things that are the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
also learning, that's one of my hobbies, and I mean, it shouldn't actually be mine because I spend my life signing up for online courses and learning new things, but like learning and knowledge could be a core value of yours.
And there, like if you are a religious person, faith might be something that you put into your top 5. There's
Fidelity.
Peace, yes. Comfort and security also is like something that I think is.
I see cleanliness. It reminds me of my neighbor. He's a dirt freak.
I might actually be one of Ryan's. I wish.
So you can see there's a shit ton of core values that you guys can go through and look at. Like we said, if you didn't get the mailer, obviously just go onto Pinterest, type in personal core values, and it'll spew out hundreds and thousands of values that you can go through and choose from.
I love.
So yeah, choose the 10 that stick out the most to you, write them down on a piece of paper. And then step 2, I think, would be to choose your top 5 because 10 is too diluted. You want to have those top 5 that spur you on, motivate you to be better, to live better, just to be better.
And I think it's so cute. Yes, to like have the 10 written down and then to pick your top 5. And I mean, to go back to it in a couple months' time, or even if it's a year's time, and look back and be like, do I still instill that into my life, or do I feel different about my core values? Like your whole top 10 might have even changed in a year's time. You never know. But it's so cool to just have it written down and you can refer back to it.
It's nice. I love referring back to things that you've written down like a year or 2 ago, because it's so nice to see. If you're on a spiritual journey, generally, it's going to be so nice to look back and see, I've come so far. I've like really instilled these values in my life. And maybe those might not be the top 10 anymore because it's just part of the way that you are. And there might be another 5 that resonate more with you. I kind of feel like it could be like your to-do list.
Yeah, and it's like your growth list.
Yeah,
literally.
your growth list. Okay, then once you have these top 5, it's time to get out a pen and paper, which you probably should have already because you've written down your top 5.
So keep that pen and paper.
Look, the activity is not done. And then just next to each value, like basically put down your own definition of what that value means to you, because honesty to one person might be on it means something different to someone else. Okay, honesty is pretty straightforward, but maybe like freedom, security, those 100%. Types of things, they can have a completely different definition to you that they could have to someone else. And then write down as well, like, how could you live in alignment with this value? Like, what are you doing now that isn't in alignment? What can you do going forward that is in alignment? What people do you need to spend more time with in order to improve this value or cut out of your life?
I was going to say, or cut, use the snip.
I'm trying to be on the positive side of things.
I'm just like snip.
Cut parcel. And then there's also a few like questions here that we thought we could just shoot out to you that could make you think about what you can write next to these top 5 values. So the one is, describe what this value means to you.
What is the value that is important to you, or why is the value important to you? Guys, I have my glasses on as well.
How is the value showing up in your life right now? This is a nice one to like compare to how you should be showing up.
I was going to say that's cool, because is it showing up in your life right now? Is it something that you're striving towards?
And then also, how might you react if this value wasn't being honored by others? I mean, this goes back to boundaries again and kicking those bastards out.
Kicking those tochuses.
All right, once you've done this, you've defined them, you know what it means to you, how you need to do it better, be better, whatever you need to do, or maybe you're already smashing it, who knows. The next step is to just, sorry guys,
that's low-key. Give me 1 second.
No props. Okay, so step 4 would be to take action and live them out. I mean, you can't set goals and not take action. Otherwise, nothing's ever going to happen.
1000%.
So once you've got clarity on what drives you, motivates you, sits well with you, start to take action and put them into action. That sounded so funny.
But it's right. Take action and put them into action. 100%. You have to take all your core values and use them in your life. Otherwise, what's the point in having core values?
100%.
Yes.
Some more questions you can ask yourself in order to start doing this step is, what benefits might you see if you're able to honor this value more? What could you start doing now to live more aligned with this value? And then what actions in the past helped you out to live more aligned with yourself? So I guess it's just a good way to see previous actions that have worked in your favor, because
the time that you felt really good in your life because you were using.
Definitely. Okay, and then I mean, everyone's different. We found an alternative way that you can also like discover your core values, which I thought was cute, because I mean, everyone's different and everyone finds different processes, good or bad. Yeah. And this way is basically just to choose like 5 or 6 people who you look up to, role models, whether you know them personally or you follow them on Instagram or you listen to their podcasts or whatever it may be. Pick out these people, list the values that you think they live in their lives in accordance to, because obviously if they are inspiring you, then you should
there may be something about them that inspires you already.
Yeah. And obviously if they're inspiring you, they're living their life with values that would probably resonate with you.
I mean, this is such a random example. I don't know why this popped into my head, but I mean, say you're a basketball player and you're really obsessed with Michael Jordan, but what was it that made you so obsessed with Michael Jordan? Like, was it his determination to train? Was it his art, his outcome of his hard work? Like, it's not that you just idolize a person, like you look and you're like, oh my God, I love Kim Kardashian. Like, no. What do you idolize about the person? Like, what resonates with you? Yes.
So that's an alternative way to find your core values if you are struggling. I mean, it sounds like such a simple exercise, but it could be something that's really hard for you, because it could be something that you've never really thought about. But like we say, practice makes perfect. Yes. So, I mean, if you do this exercise today and then you do it in 6 months' time, you'll probably find in 6 months' time, because now it's something that you've got in your head and you're actively thinking about on a daily basis, it's going to be a lot easier for you to set those values 6 months, a year from now, or whatever, it might even be a week from now.
It will get easier every single time. Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, that's our little episode on core values.
I was going to say definition of core values, and that was not a definition at all.
That was a whole episode. Yes. But like we always say at the end of every episode,
every single one,
thank you guys so much for your love and support, and for listening to us and taking the time out of your day to just lend an ear
or two. I mean, guys, honestly, I don't think you realize how much it means to us. We always say the same thing every episode, but we really have been so consistent with our podcast already just for January and with the spirituality journey, and the listens are just honestly skyrocketing at a really fast pace as opposed to like the beginning of when we started. So it gives us so much. I mean, we get nothing out of this besides just getting people to listen and changing people's lives in some way, shape or form, and that's like so much to us. So I mean, watching the listens go up and getting the feedback from you guys and seeing people involved in the challenges, like it really, really makes us so happy. I mean, even the other day I made my whole day that I saw on our Health and Harmony page. I can't remember who it was, so I'm sorry. Rox might remember. But someone was just like, tagged a photo of their computer screen and they were like, need to start my Saturday right listening to Health and Harmony goals. And I was like, so crazy. And it's so cool to see people are listening to us like as part of their daily routine. So thank you so much. Like we always say, whatever you tag us in really does make us so excited and so happy.
Yeah, we honestly love you guys. Without you, we would just be talking to a wall.
I'm like, thank God you listen, because we basically are speaking to a wall. Yeah.
But yeah, enough about the
mushy gushy. Roxy's not a mushy gushy. I'll sit here and mushy gush to you guys for hours. Let's draw the line.
Yeah, but like I said, if you can leave us a review, that'll be amazing. We won't go much more into that, but we will see you guys next week.
And stick to the challenge.
Yes,
it's helping.
We're loving seeing you guys post. And also, I was thinking we've shared it to a highlight reel. So if you're only listening to this in 2022 or whenever you start to listen to this, go onto our Instagram, look for the 30-day spirituality journey reel, and you can just use that to start your own 30-day. It doesn't have to be at this moment how we're doing
Yes,
it.
the highlight will always be there. So, I mean, whether, and also I think it'll be cool for something, if it's something that you want to do every 6 months, like just to make sure that you're on track and you're following everything that you are working towards.
Definitely.
So it's always going to be there. And if you can't find it, just message us. We will send it to you.
Exactly.
Thank you guys. Have an amazing week/weekend whenever you listen to this. We love you.
We love you.